Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the timeline. The timeline panel is this panel right here that we've been working on for a little bit. Now let's talk about these numbers here. These represent the time position of the edit line, which is this red line here. In Adobe World, this line is called the Current Time Indicator, or CTI. As we may already know, as the CTI moves, the image that displays in the monitor changes. So really, whatever frame the CTI is on top of, that's what we see. So, to play the video, the CTI must move. This number here represents the time position of the CTI, which agrees with this number here in the monitor panel. Next, let's discuss these icons here. First, we see this little eye icon. Let me move the CTI to about here. This makes the layer visible and invisible. Since they're all selected, it's happening to all of them. If I were to deselect, it would only happen to the selected layer. This is just toggling the visibility of that particular layer. The next icon right here, which is grayed out, will mute that particular layer. This option only becomes active if audio data happens to be present for that particular track. The next icon will solo that layer. Soloing the layer just means that After Effects will make all of the layers invisible, except for this one. The next icon here is going to be the lock icon. If you lock your layer, you're really preventing from making any changes to it. In other words, you are protecting your layer from yourself. Next, we see the label. This is very similar to the label in the project panel. Many times we copy our layers, and we have several of the same, and we need to further differentiate just one of them. By clicking here, you can select a different color, let's say orange, and now our layer here turns orange, and we can see it at a distance. The next column that we see here is showing us the layer stacking order. The layer that is on top is always layer number 1. So if I move this layer down in the layer stacking order, for example, see orange now is layer number 2 and the quad is layer number 1. So whatever layer is on top is always number 1. And there are shortcuts for you to move these layers. For example, Command for Mac or Control for Windows and the up arrow will let you select different layers. Option Command for Mac plus the arrow, or Alt Control for Windows plus the up or down arrows will move the layer stacking order. Next, we have the layer name. If we click on the layer name, we'll see the source name. We can change the layer name by just selecting the layer and press Enter or Return and type in the new name. As you may have already noticed, all of these icons here are divided in groups that are divided in columns. For example, these here are the AV options columns, label, layer number, and of course layer name. You can show and hide columns if you just right-click anywhere in here, choose columns, and there you go. You can hide any of these except for the layer name. You can also add comment, mode, etc., etc.